Well, it's been a while. Haven't really had the gumption to do one till just here lately. So let's see where it goes. You know, I hear a lot of people saying that things like, I don't believe God will send people to hell just because of one thing. And I hear people say, I'm a good person and I don't do this and that, and I don't rob and I don't steal and I don't kill people and things like that. And there's a lot of good people in this world that are good people. And I don't believe my God would send them to hell just because they didn't believe in one thing, which of course is Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died on the cross for your sins. Well, I'm going to tell you, like Norval Hayes. I enjoyed Norval Hayes. I used to listen to his tapes way back when they were cassette tapes, not MP3s and such. And I love the way he came back to people. People would come up to him and say, well, you know, Mr. Hayes, I don't believe in the way you believe. You know what he'd say? He was so diplomatic. He'd look them right in the eye and say, who cares what you believe? Did you hear me clearly? Who cares what you believe? That's pretty clear. See, people say I don't believe that my God would send people to hell because they're good people and all this, that, and the other. And, you know, technically, you're probably right. Your God wouldn't. But see, the God that created everything, that created you, loved you enough to send you a handbook written by 44 authors, 66 books written over the course of about 2,000 to 4,000 years. It's so intertwined. The more I study it, the more I realize it's so intertwined that there is no way it could have been designed by man. The more I study it, the more fascinating it is that you could take one little piece out of it and still have the entire story of Jesus Christ. You either got predictions of Jesus Christ and examples of Jesus Christ in the Old Testament, or you've got fulfillment of prophecy in the New Testament and explanations of everything. You don't understand. He's God. He loves you enough to tell you about himself and how he wants you to worship him. And that's the bottom line. You can't tell me that you can stand outside at night on a clear night and look up at all those stars and all the millions and billions of miles away that they are and how many they are, and you can't grasp the awesomeness of God. And yet he cares about you enough to come down here, to go through what he went through. And if you want to see just a fraction of what he went through, watch Passion of the Christ. That was a fraction. That was, there's no way they could have depicted what really happened. That was good enough. I've only been able to see the movie once. And he did that for you. And he gives you, he says point blank, there's only one way to the Father. And that's through Jesus Christ. It's laid out. It starts in Genesis and it goes through Revelations. And it tells you there is one way. He's God, man. He don't have to ask you nothing. And he sure ain't going to fit in your little box. He don't have to. He tells you how to go about it. You don't tell him. He's God. But until you realize the awesomeness of God, then you continue to put him in your little box. And I don't know what God you're putting in your little box, but I can tell you this. The real God of the universe gave you a handbook. And you can say, well, you know, over the course of time, it's probably been corrupted by man and this and that and the other. You know what? It's so intertwined. Man could only corrupt little parts and pieces of it. And if you're that concerned about how corrupted the translations and all have been, then get on the internet and find the original Hebrew and translate it yourself. If you care that much, then go translate it yourself. Find out what he said. Because the original Hebrew is what God put down through a man. He's God, man. He's God. He doesn't follow your rules. He's already given you the rules. It's up to you to follow his rules. And if he says there's only one way, then there's only one way. Jesus begged 3 times, prayed 3 times the night of the arrest. If there's any other way, don't make me go through this. Guess what? There's only one way to heaven. There's only one way to avoid hell. And that's through Jesus Christ. Because if there had been any other way, do you think for 1 minute, if you're a parent, I want you to think about this. If there was any other way to your salvation, do you think for 1 minute a father would let his son go through that? His only son. Because no matter what anybody thinks, a lot of people lose perspective that God had to watch that. And he did it for you. That's how much he loves you. He don't have to. He don't have to give you a second thought. Then again, he doesn't have to give you the air that you breathe either. He doesn't have to give you the gravity that's holding you in place. He doesn't have to give you the sun to give you warmth. He doesn't have to do anything. Get it through your head. He's God. He don't fit in your box. I pray for every single person that watches this video. Even Jesus says there's none good but the Father when they were calling him good teacher. You can be a good person. There's nothing wrong with being a good person. As a matter of fact, it's rather good that you're a good person. But you're not going to get to heaven by what you do. Because no matter what you do, you will fall short. God gave you the avenue. God gave you the way. And that's through Jesus Christ. Even though he was sinless, he died for your sins. He did it freely. He didn't have to go through that. You know what nailed him to the cross? It wasn't those nails through his hands. It was the love for you. He could have stepped off that cross at any time. He didn't even have to be arrested. There was many times they tried to kill him and he just disappeared. You don't believe me? Look it up. You got 4 books to look it up in. Pick one. He simply disappeared. He didn't have to. It wasn't time yet, so that's why he did that. But he didn't have to go through what he went through. He went through it because he loved you. Personally. By name. He knows how many hairs you got on your head. He has all the stars in the sky named, each one. It's in the Bible. Look it up. If you care that much, look it up. I love you. I'm praying for you. So, have a good day.